And
No, only thing is this functional thing, right? It is taking little bit time. Apart from that, we're good. Like that's why functional we need to practice properly. So because yesterday I was trying, it is like going through video itself is taking more than 2 hours to understand. Like video is only 1.5 hours, but it's taking 2.5 hours to 3 hours to
yeah,
understand and
even
make it
function,
into it. Yeah.
function it's anyway, I don't give it to assignment. It's up to your interest. Okay, functional programming, just for your idea, I explained it, but you should have that knowledge. Future is going to be the controllers and services will be writing like that only. But this weekend assignment, this one, right? So MSK parent, common service, country service. MSK parent, common service, and country service. Today I will try to complete mobile accessory, right? Mobile accessory also. So these four modules, right? These four modules, you have to get it done on weekend. Today and tomorrow I will complete this mobile accessory. So by Monday, you should have all these services in your local, right? So first one is mobile service, next one is parent, common, country service, mobile accessory. As we are moving some of the things into common, once you are done with the common, so all the three services, right? So these are our major services: country service, mobile accessory service, and mobile service. So these three microservices should be should have Swagger integration, should have AOP integration, should have filter integration, should have proper validations, right? So validation error messages loading from properties. Right? Anyway, if you just do it common, then automatically all these services are going to get benefited, right? Right. So it's not like we are not doing the code duplication, right? So we are moving all these features into common. We already did, actually, right? We already did. So we should reuse the same concept in across all the services, right? So what are all the common things? Controller, service, repository is common, but all these features, whatever we discussed, those should be part of common service, and we should import that functionality in all these three microservices. Okay, so I think we have not completed common service fully. That day we moved AOP and we moved uh, filter ID, right? So let me check what is the part we complete, right? Let me quickly switch to the workspace. So we will first complete that part. Okay, common module is not fully completed. So we will first complete the common service fully, and we can check whether that is working for country service and mobile service or not. Then today we will try to start mobile accessory. Mostly today and tomorrow, maybe today and by tomorrow I will complete this mobile accessory. Okay, so yeah, so you have to complete these assignments, and make sure you complete mobile accessory also, because Monday what I will do, I will start writing client program which will invoke these three services and give the accumulated response time. Okay, so Monday, make sure you are attending the session. I'm just setting the right expectation. Monday session, mostly you can understand 30 to 40% is the max. That is what is the real expectation. Don't think like 5 10 minutes, like 15 minutes you are going through, and don't get disappointed saying that okay, this is completely new and not able to understand. Yes, that is the reality. The real expectation I'm setting you for you guys for Monday training is going to be maximum 30 to 40% you are going to understand, because we are going to write a mobile client program. Okay, and there I'm going to use web client and lots of, like almost I can say 80% of the program is going to be functional code. Lots of functional code, and we are going to write. So it's completely the latest way of doing the programming with Java 8 and Spring Reactive web client we are going to write. So I'm just giving you what is the correct expectation, right? So what you can get, and try to give 100%, but you can get maximum 30 to 40%. Okay, so we write with be with the right expectation. Okay, because again it's like one more day functional endpoints uh, day like that. But that is the reality. Going forward, as per the Spring documentation, REST template is almost deprecated. Okay, we should use web client. We should use web client. Okay, so when we use web client, all the return types are going to be mono and flex. It's again reactive programming, mono and flex. So how to play with the mono and flex, we will see more in the client side, because client side is little difficult. So produce is easy, right? You are returning mono and flex. It's just calling mono dot just and returning mono dot just and returning back. Mono dot that flex dot just and returning back. Or else you are getting it from the database and you are returning it back. So service provider side, you may not feel that much difficulty, right? While with mono and flex, but when you go and consume the service, that time you really face a lot of challenges, right? Yes. So that is what we are going to learn in the website. Okay, in the Monday session. Mostly that is little difficult. Okay, so be prepared for that. But anyway, let's come back. So this is what is your weekend assignment, right? So you need to complete all these four services. Okay, all these four services has to be completed on weekend. So Sunday is a holiday for the training. So you should utilize these 2 days properly and try to complete the assignments. Okay, once we jump into microservices, we will be not writing. I mean, we will not go and play with these microservices. Right? We don't touch these services. We will write a different code, right? Different code, and we will mostly use these services. At the time, if you don't have these services ready, you really feel struggle to understand the concept. Okay. Yeah, so this is what is the plan for weekend and Monday. Yes. Today, let me go to common service, because there is some part we missed out, I believe. Right. So let's go to common and open the configuration. So we moved AOP and we moved error, right? So common response type we moved. That day we were discussing why we made response type as generic, right? So why we made response type as generic, and as well as we are trying, we also moved AOP out from this mobile service, and commonly it's a common concept, right? So that's why we moved out. So let's go to the further configuration. For example, we have filter, right? Filter also common, right? So what does our filter is doing? Our filter is doing our filter is doing this one, right? So it is tracking each request, how much time it is taking to process, right? So it's processing out and out, not in detail. So in detail is going to be processed by AOP. For example, you send a request, how much time the controller took, and how much time the service took, how much time the repository took. Those details are logged at AOP level, but out and out, right? So what is the total request processing time, including everything, right? So dispatchers are late, handler matter, handler adapter, and some other processors are executing internally. So what is the complete total processing time, including Spring? That is what we are playing, right? So it is nothing related to, I mean, nothing related to any particular module. So we need this commonly. So what we will do, let's move this out from mobile service and put it in the common. So let's just move it from here to here. Okay, we're almost done. Yeah. Let's move this into filter folder. Let's move this. We need a servlet dependency. Okay, we need a servlet. We need these files are present in servlet, not in JDK, right? So we need to add servlet dependency. Let me quickly go to Google and get the servlet dependency. Right. So um, yeah, let's add three servlet 3 API. Four also came. Um, okay. Let's just go ahead and copy three. Go to let's come back to our workspace. Let me go to common pom.xml file. Just add this, right? Just add this function. Why we need AOP? Yeah, so because we are using AOP classes here, we need AOP. So, so it's going to add the particular jar. Anyway, version section is not required. But Spring Boot manages the version. So you don't need to worry about that particular. Okay. So after adding this, if you could just go back to the, if you just go back to filter code, you see all the errors are gone, right? Now you see all the errors are gone. And yeah, so component is not going to work out here, right? In the common section, component is not going to work out. So what should we do? We should create a bean. So let's go to common configuration and create a bean. Yeah, so type of filter. Okay. So let's name it log processing time filter. That is what we return new. So this concept is going to be automatically applicable, right? So this concept is going to be automatically applicable to all the applications, right? So now we are done with setting up the filter. Now let's go to mobile service, right? So here is the error because earlier we created this bean. Yeah, so this bean configuration also needs to be moved into common section. Okay. You need to create a logging processing filter bean, and that has to be processed, right? So that has to be passed as an argument. So this, we'll do one thing. Either you can do like this, or you can call this method as a argument. Both are same. There should be smaller here. Save the file. Save the file. Okay, so now the filter complete section is moved inside common one. So now let's go to country service and see, because country service doesn't have any filter logic implemented. But as it is importing the common configuration file, so it should automatically get that filter functionality, right? So filter AOP, and the response flow model, right? So let's quickly do one thing. Let's start the country service and see whether the filter functionality is getting applied or not. Started. Let's go to Postman. Okay. To access 8081 country. Okay, we are going to get all countries information. Let's just send the request. Uh, the TP local host 80 MSK country, I believe. So let's go to MSK country. Working now. It's connecting to the database, right? The total time taken to process this request is 1163 milliseconds, right? It's almost 1 second, 1.1 second, right? So, and it is also printing internally, right? AOP details, how much the controller took, how much the repository took, and how much the service took, right? So it's printing every detail information, right? So it's almost our controller and service and repository took 891 milliseconds, but only the database call alone it took like 850 milliseconds, right? Yeah. Anyway, if we send the request for second time, it will be the performance will be improved. For the first time, it's connected to the data source kernel, right? So that's why it took that much time. If we send the second time, it will be a little faster, right? So within 10 milliseconds, the process has been completed. So the second database call took like only 5 milliseconds, right? The second database call took only 5 milliseconds. That's fine. So the filter logic is working, but anyway, I think we are printing the logs in by using sysout. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's go to logging filter. We are doing sysout. Let's not do that. Let's try to print logs always by using um, log, logger, right? So we are going to use project logback one annotation slf4j. Automatically, logback will create one logger declaration. Okay, automatically logback is going to create one logger declaration. So you don't need to do logger equals to new logback to dot create log. Nothing required. You can directly use log dot error error mode. That's fine. Okay, so yeah, as we added developer tools, it's going to it's going to be it's going to server is going to be restarted automatically. Now you see that logs will be printed on error mode, right? So here it is. So log processing filter, right? Log processing time filter. So we send get request, and the total time taken to process this endpoint is 305 milliseconds, right? 305 milliseconds. Yes. Let's not use any system.out.println in the application. Okay. Don't do that. Why? Because I'll tell you. Go to the system class. Okay, system class, and it has a variable called out, right? It has a property called out. So this is the print string. It has a method printer. So this is what we are calling. So just go inside this printer and method. It's actually synchronized, right? So it's actually synchronized. So only one thread can access this method. So if you are doing multiple sysouts, so there is some delay. So this is the reason why people don't, when you get the review comments, not to use system.out.println. Okay, never use system.out.println because it's a synchronized. So your application may be slow down, right? So your response time will increase. Don't do that. Okay. So wherever you see system.out.println and system.error.println, replace those parameters, right? Replace that line of code with log code there, right? Logger.error, logger.info, logger.debug, like that you can just
Oh, printer is synchronized. Okay, I never never see that.
yeah, that is the reason why when you write that code, the serious code review comment, right? Remove the print.
Yeah.
When
That's
you
right.
go to exception print stack trace, it would be the same problem. I think it should be in the throwable. Okay, so you just go to throwable and control O. There's a method print stack trace. Okay, you see some kind of synchronized flow. So don't use e.print stack trace in your code. Okay, because some synchronization is going to be applied. So your performance will be slowed down, right? So what is the synchronized? Only one thread can access this particular code. Okay, strong code review comment. Don't do e.print stack trace, t.print stack trace, right? So exception, don't call print stack trace method ever. Okay, just print logger using logger statement, right? So log.error, and comma e. We will do it in one place. Okay, for example, do we write any stack trace? Okay, by going customized exception. Okay, we will do it in client. Okay, we will do it in client. There we will catch the exception and we will convert it to a different exception. That time I will show you how to not to write print stack trace and how still how we can print exception details on the console. I will show you. Okay. Okay. So we move filter. Let's move this error details code also, right? So because that is a common functionality, right? So whatever the configuration we write for loading error details properties, right? So this entire configuration can be moved into common place so that um, okay, so we can get one benefit with this approach. So all the microservices will have error messages dot properties file, right? All the applications, all the microservices are going to have all the error messages in a common path, right? In a common line. So that is what is the benefit. Yes, anyway, let's go back to application configuration. Nothing is there. So no configuration required. Just delete this file from mobile server, right? Because the entire configuration we moved out from mobile service. But anyway, this name is not sounding is good, right? So let's make it application common configuration. Right? Let's name it application common configuration. I think we need to change it in the country service and as well as in the mobile service. Application common configuration. Save it just to import. Let's go to mobile service also. Change the name to application configuration, common configuration. Let's save it. Okay. Yeah. Common configuration doesn't sound good, right? So that's why we changed it to application common configuration. So now let's have a quick look. What are all the things we made common? The first thing is AOP. Each method, how much time it is taking to execute. We are printing, and we are enabled. Every microservice should have a proper Swagger UI screen, right? So we should know what are all the endpoints are there in each microservice, so that, I mean, it's a kind of documentation. So who is going to consume our service? So they don't torture our developers, or they don't send too many emails sending, okay, this is not working, that is not working, right? So they can use our UI integration, right? Swagger UI, HTML file, and they can get some idea. Yes. And some filter we added. Okay, so this is going to log the complete request processing time, how many milliseconds each request, how many milliseconds we are actually taking to process the request. Okay, and we are also added, yeah. So this is for to enable this filter, fine, yeah. And last we added the validation messages, common place, right? So all our microservices, in all our microservices, all the error messages are going to be there in only one place, error one messages dot properties file. Okay, so this is what is the common configuration which is required for every microservice. So that's why we moved everything out from our mobile service, right? So let's go to mobile service and see whether the validation is working or not. So here we have the error messages, right? So as per the configuration, so anyway, it's not in our mobile service now anymore. So it should be loading from the common, but the string will go and read the configuration from the error messages from error icon messages from property. So the same concept is applicable for country also. I think we have not implemented. Yes, I think I implemented for one microservice. I asked you to implement. If tomorrow, like for example, if my country service is having a different request, right? There is a same method. Get we have for post we not implemented. I think it's your job, right? It's part of assignment. Okay. If I have a post method implemented and I should have a different requester to take the request, right? So input. So that must be validated. So that time my country service also should have error message. But anyway, we will do that in the mobile accessory. Okay, mobile accessory we will quickly do that. So let me boot up the mobile service to check whether all the features are working or not. AOP, validation, security, documentation, right? And filtering, everything is working or not. Let's quickly test for mobile service. So let's just start uh, mobile service application. Yes. Application is started. Don't worry, this is the problem with the live reload server. Okay, that's fine. we will change live reload server, right? So when we add dev tools internally, what is happening? There is a live reload server is starting, right? To change to bring our applications, right? Whenever you do a change and save, automatically that live reload server will restart our application, right? So there is a conflict actually. Okay. Okay. Is it clear why we get this exception? I tried to explain, but I'm not sure whether you get it or not. If you are not clear, then I will try to make you understand why we got this exception. So there was one exception, right? Yeah. So there is one exception, but which is not stopping our application to come up, right? So the problem is live reload server, right? So there is some already one live reload server is running. So let me make it more clear. Okay. So I will stop everything now. If I start mobile service, there won't be any problem. But look at the console. There is one statement. It's going to be printed on the console saying that live reload server is started on port 3752, something like that. Yeah, yeah, you see here, right? So live server is running port number 352729, right? So that is the default port. Okay. So when we add dev tools, okay, when we add dev tools, so this server is going to be embedded, right? So the live reload server is going to be embedded automatically, and the default port for the live reload server is 35279. So now we have dev tools in the micro mobile service. We have dev tools in the country service. So, so what will happen when I start country service? So the same one more live reload server is going to be started, and it's going to be started on the port 35729, right?
What is this live? This thing, sorry.
That is the server which takes care about. Okay, when we add dev tools, what is the benefit we are getting? We are not restarting.
Auto restart.
Yeah, so that is part of this live reload server. It's going to be automatically taken care by restarting our server. So what exactly is happening? Right now, I started a mobile service, but it internally, okay, this is my mobile service, right?
Sunil, can we change the port number for the live
Yeah,
server?
we will change it. We'll change it. But before that, I want everyone to be understand why we are getting it. Okay. So we added a dev tools, right? We added a dev tools. So it internally using a server called live reload server. Okay. So the default port for live reload server is 352 35729. Okay. So we added dev tools in the mobile service. So there is one live reload server is started on port 3572. There is no problem. But if I go and start one more service, which is uh, I mean country service, right? So if I start country service, what will happen? Here also we have dev tools. So here also one live reload server is going to be started, right? Here also one more live reload server is going to be started. But the problem is this the second country service live reload server also is going to be started on same port, right? What is the port number 35729, right? But it won't get success because already this port is being used in my local machine, right? So I should say use a different port, but in the real time, when you deploy in Docker, I told already each Docker instance is act like a separate machine. So there won't be any problem, right? So if I'm running on Docker, there won't be any problem because each Docker instance is going to be behaving like a different machine, right? So a different machine. So this Docker instance is going to have their own, so this is Docker 1. So it's going to have their own port numbers, and this is Docker 2. So this is going to have their own port numbers, right? So if you are running on Docker, there won't be any problem. Okay, so Docker 2 or Docker 1. Right, so if you are using Docker, there won't be any problem, but we are running as a standalone application, right? So it's a standalone Spring Boot application. So on my machine, okay, so we are not using the Docker, so that is the reason why they are getting this problem, right? So it's a single machine now, so we don't have Docker. Already port 35729 it's already in you, right? So what we can do, we can check how to change live reload server port number. Let's go to the Stack Overflow, right? So Spring Boot live uh, reload server port, right? Server port change. Some configuration should be there in the application.properties file.
I think if we give server.port equal to 0, it will take.
No. Server.port for actual Tomcat server.
Mm. Okay, this is for Docker server.
Okay, that's why I don't want to go to this documentation. I want the exact solution. So let's go to Stack Overflow. How to bind locally? Yes. Okay, let's disable it. That's fine. Still DevTools works. Okay, still DevTools works. There won't be any problem. So let me stop live reload server. Still it works. No problem. Okay. Let's go to application.properties file. We are just saying I don't want live server. Okay. Let's do the same thing for country service also. Okay. Now there won't be any port conflict, right? So we are saying don't start live reload server, right? So till it takes care about latest changes deployment, fine. So we are saying I don't want live reload server, so there won't be any problem now. Okay, hopefully if the properties fine. Okay, yeah. So let's start mobile service. It will start, but it won't print live reload details on the console because we said false, right? So yeah, it's connecting to the database. It is checking exception handling details, some blah blah blah. Fine, application is started. Check for live, sorry, live reload, right? No live reload server. But it doesn't mean that our DevTools is not going to work. Nothing like that. Just let me change the message, right? So you see automatically the server is going to be started. Country service application. So country microservice. Yes. As soon as I save this file, there won't be any problem. Your application will be restarted. Come on. Sorry, we started mobile service and we are changing country, right? So let me change mobile service file. So mobile service, mobile microservice, there won't be any problem. It should work fine. Okay, so live reload server is completely optional. Okay, we not required. We don't need live reload server. So still it won't be there. Okay, live reload is suitable for web applications, not for microservices. So that's why we are disabling. Okay, it's not required. So now we can start country service, right? No mobile, no live reload server, no port con, right? We can completely disable this option itself because we no need this for microservices, right? So now even though it's a single application, right? It's not a Docker application. Still we don't have any problem because this entire concept we just take down, right? So there is no live reload server, right? Yes. So we just remove this part. Now there won't be any problem, right? Yes. We are good with DevTools also. No port conflict with DevTools. Yes. So we started mobile service, fine. Let's start country service. There won't be any problem. Okay. So no exception is going to be printed. But if you enable the live reload server, you see some exception is printed. But anyway, it won't stop any. I mean, it won't give any trouble to our application. But it's not good to have any exceptions on the console, right? That's why we are removing that concept. Yeah, Tomcat is started, right? Tomcat is started. That's fine. We are good. Yes. So let's yeah. So let's test our country. You see everything will be printed, right? Every information, right? It prints method execution time. It prints processing filter time, and we have what we have in the common application configurations. What are all the features we enabled? Filter is working. Yeah, AOP is working. Yeah, if you just try to access 8080 MSK, right? 8080 MSK swagger.html. So it's 8081. Right? So it's a country service swagger you are going to get, even though it's configured one place, right? So even it's applicable for uh, my mobile service also, right? That is running on port 8080. So there won't be any problem, right? So both applications are getting Swagger integrated, right? So this is for country. Uh, Swagger post pet store. What is a pet store?
I think some other API it opened.
Yeah, it is pointing to some other API. Uh, it's a mobile service application, right? Where is
What
this all of
happened?
a sudden pet store coming into the picture? What is the port we are using? Surprise. Let's go to this. It's running on port 8080. It's localhost 8080 MSK Swagger UI.html. Why it went into text store? Let me remove this. Okay, we need the context path.
That you need server.
MSK slash mobiles. Sorry, not mobiles. Swagger UI.html. Yes, now I think it will come to mobile application, not desktop. I think that is the default endpoint, I believe. If I type the complete URL, yeah, I think it's going to the pet store. That is what is the default endpoint they are writing. It's part of Swagger UI. Okay, so let's go to 8080. Oh, that is inbuilt. That is there in the Swagger. Pet store is there in the Swagger, not
Okay.
in our. It's
That's why.
there in dependency. Okay, from where we are getting, we added Swagger dependency, right? So it's part of Swagger dependency. Okay, for learning demo purpose, they would have created all these examples. So if you directly enter index.html, it will take you to there. But if you enter Swagger UI.html, it will take us to our application. Yes, it will take us to MSK, mobile Microsoft. But if you just do direct request to Swagger UI, it will take you to the page store, right? So it is inbuilt. So be very careful with the URL type. Okay. Yes. Fine. So even though it's configured in one place, we are able to retrieve both application specific UI integration files, right? So when you access mobile controller, you are seeing only mobile controller endpoints, but when you access country controller, you are able to see only country controller endpoints, right? But it is configured in only one place, right? So where we configured, it's part of application common configuration. So the filter also same, AOP also same, error messages also same concept, right? So, and one more good thing is today we are going to write reactive programming, and for reactive programming also we are going to use the same concept, right? We no need to write all these features, okay? Because reactive also is going to support all these features by default, okay? So we are just going to import this application common configuration file, so I mean, automatically reactive programming also will get this benefit. Okay, you know, this can be exposed to the world, right? So whoever wants AOP support, whoever wants excuse me, whoever wants open API support, whoever wants to log the complete filter, right? Not only our microservice, even in your company you can I mean, this is a publicly accessible, right? So you can clone this project, and you can import this resource, you will get all these benefits, right? So it's a generic way, common model we wrote it, right? Nothing related to our application. If you just remove this project name as mobile common and make it application common, right? Just importing this class into any project, any microservice, will get all these features enabled. Filter will be enabled, common API, right? So open API documentation is going to be enabled, and aspect also is going to be enabled. Aspect also is going to be enabled, and filter also is going to be enabled. So the only thing you want is this MSK parent and MSK common. If you make it as application parent and application common, it can be used across all the microservices. Whoever is going to import this resource, they can get all these benefits. So if you are writing 100 microservices, you don't need to do this duplication, right? You don't need to this common functionality duplicated. Why? Because we are going to I mean, it's a common functionality. We will put it in one place, and it's going to be used in all the microservices. So what we should do in other microservices, we should import this common configuration, right? We should import that application common configuration file. Automatically those features are going to be enabled, right? So automatically those features are going to be enabled in your all microservices. Okay, yes. So we are writing four microservices, and we need this common functionality. So that is the reason why we created a separate module, right? We don't want to do this duplication in all microservices. Okay, so we are done with like common service. Let's create a reactive programming, right? So mobile accessories. But before that, I would like to show the data which we are going to get. Okay. Yes. So here is the data. There it is. Oh my God, I lost the data. Yeah. So here is the data, mobile accessories data, right? Yes. So we are going to create a table with the three parameters: name, description, mobile ID. We will also add one more column, ID, but it's auto generated, right? We don't get it from the front end. It's an auto generated. So we are going to get three parameters: name, description, mobile type. So if you, for example, why we are maintaining mobile type? Because mobile type is like Samsung, right? If the mobile name is Samsung, so we will show a couple of accessories. If mobile name is MI, we will show a couple of accessories. For Nokia, there are a couple of accessories we will show. For Honor, we will show a couple of accessories. But anyway, so we don't want to do that kind of classification. Let's give this accessories, right? Let's give this accessories information to all the mobiles. For every mobile, let's suggest these accessories to buy, right? Cases and covers, screen guards, power banks, etc. Some accessories which are required for every mobile. So we are going to give this information to every mobile. So when we are writing client, what exactly is going to happen? You know, our client will work like this. So we will send a request to the client. Okay, we will send a request to the client application. So this client application, okay, this is our client application. Can you please mute, please? Yes. So we will send a request to the client application. So from client application, first call we will make it to mobile service, right? So this is our first call. Okay. So once you get the mobile response from the mobile service, okay, so we will make two calls One is for country service. Okay, so this is our country service, and another one is accessory service. Okay, so we are going to make two parallel calls to pitch mobile related country information, mobile related accessory information. Okay, so you can ask me why we are doing like this. We can put all these things in one place, right? Why we are doing like this? So if you do put everything in one application, what will happen? So for example, tomorrow if I would like to add a new accessory, right? I don't want to bring my mobile service if we follow this architecture, right? Microservices architecture. So tomorrow to do any changes in accessories, I don't want to. I mean, there is no impact to the mobile service and country, right? And all of a sudden, if accessories down, DB goes down, or accessories application is going down, so there won't be any problem. So what we will do, we don't suggest any mobile accessories, but still we will give mobile information, right? So that's the reason why we are splitting it. But I mean, actually, it won't be. Yeah, it will be like this, but it will be like more tables, right? More tables and more configuration, more code will be there in the real time. Okay, it will be like this only. Even in the any other application, if they would like to implement my mobile service, right? So they will be implementing services like this, right? So mobile service, accessory service, country service, like that. So if you go to any e-commerce site, like, and they would like to make microservice. So mostly it won't be like it will be like module based, right? So e-commerce, like, what are all the modules we have? We have shopping module, we have cart module, we have order module, we have shipping module, right? We have billing module, or else payment, right? Billing or payment, whatever it is, it's both are same. Right? Shipping module, we have um, um, catalog, right? So which maintains all the products information, right? So catalog module, and we have some etc etc, right? Okay, some kind of delivery module, right? So like this, we have different microservices. Shop is one microservice, cart is another microservice, order is another microservice, shipping is another microservice, billing, catalog, delivery. So why we follow this kind of architecture? Because tomorrow, if we would like to do any changes in one microservice, there won't be any other. I mean, we don't need to do any testing other microservices. We don't need to do any downtime for other microservices, right? And we are going to have different databases. Okay, we will discuss in detail why we are following this architecture. So same kind of architecture we are trying to implement in our training also, right? So we are going to write multiple services. I will tell you why we are following this architecture once we jump into microservices, right? So how this is going to be benefited, why we are creating so many instances, and then we will discuss once we jump into microservices concept. Okay, but anyway, today we are going to write these accessories, and from Monday we will start like client model. Okay, so these are individual microservices, right? So these are individual microservices. There is no dependency, like we don't have any relationship between country and accessory, and we don't have any relationship in mobile and accessory also, right? So these all are individual services. Okay, so let me quickly create a new service, right? So file, new Spring Starter project. Let's click on, before that, let's give the name. um, Project name is going to be mobile accessory. Fine, accessory or accessories, anything, it's fine. So yeah, it's the same thing. So yeah, artifact also same name, and description is going to be country. It's not country, mobile accessory microservice, right? Mobile accessory microservice. And let's give the package name, default package name as mobile accessory, right? So default package name as mobile accessory. Next. Yes, but the dependencies are going to be changed. We need Lombac, we need DevTools, but it's not web, right? It's a web reactive, right? It's not web, it's a web reactive. We are going to write this service as like reactive programming, right? So not web, and we are going to be connected to MongoDB, whatever we created yesterday. So make sure you select React to MongoDB, right? So there are multiple MongoDB dependencies are there. For testing, we use some embedded MongoDB database. For real application purpose, there are two options will be there. One is MongoDB and another one is reactive MongoDB. So as you selected reactive web, you must select reactive MongoDB. If you select Spring Web, then you have to select data MongoDB, right? So be very careful with this mapping. If it is Spring Web, then you should select the first one. If it is Spring Reactive Web, right? So just as we selected Spring Reactive Web, so we need to select Reactive MongoDB. Yes. So next, yeah, finish. So automatically Eclipse is going to create the project and import it into project workspace. Yeah, it's done. Okay. Spring will create one application class also for us, right? Mobile accessory application. Let it be. There won't be any problem. Okay, so it's the same thing, right? Whatever we did yesterday, it's the same thing. Let's quickly copy paste that parameter, right? So we are going to use the same configuration. So let's connect it to the same database where it was. It is here, right? Yes. Okay, so MongoDB repository. I believe this is what we created yesterday, right? So let me make sure. Let me connect it to MongoDB. MongoDB Cloud Atlas. I need to sign in. Okay, so what is the username we gave yesterday? The email and password, right? Let me stop share a moment. Let me log in. Um,
Sunil, are you sharing your screen? Because
yeah,
not.
okay. It's gone. 1 second. Let me start again. Oh, invalid username and password. Um, okay, I'm not able to log in. Just a moment. Let me check the Gmail. Yesterday we created a new database, right? Um, okay. Uh, which email ID we used? Any idea? Let me check. So it might be a different email ID.
That zero MSK something like that.
It's a zero. Okay. It's a Spring Batch zero MS, correct? I thought it's one. So it's not allowing me to edit. Okay. 1 second, guys. I will tell you why I'm just stopping the screen while I'm logging, because I need to clear some auto population of usernames, because my company name is going to be popped up. So once I log in, I just share back. Yes. So we logged in. Okay, yesterday's instance we logged in. Okay, so I'll tell you why I did that. Okay, so there is so autofill form data. So I created one time my profile with my company's email ID, so that's it's populated. Right? Yeah, I deleted it. It won't be populated going forward. Yeah, fine. So now, yeah, yesterday's table. This is what is the database we created yesterday, right? And this is what is the DB we created, right? It's two employees information we created. So we are going to use the same database. Let me check whether it's the same host name or not. Just I got doubt. Okay, because I created a couple of instances. Let me go to database. Okay, clusters, connect, Java application. Copy this URL. Okay, yes, let's go to our application. Paste the paste the URL. Right, the password is MSK Spring, and the database also MSK Spring. Okay. It no need to be same thing, right? You can, whenever you are creating, you can give your username and password and your database name, but make sure you properly configure it, right? So without proper configuration, your application will not be connected to the cloud MongoDB instance, right? And make sure you enable the network access, right? Without network access, still again you can't able to access our application, right? Yes. So now let's go to mobile accessory application. Fine. Let's create a model class, right, for our um, mobile accessory. Okay, right click new class. Let it be model. For accessing purpose, we will create DTO classes. Okay, to interact with the database, let's create mobile accessory, right? Mobile accessory.java. Okay, so what are all the parameters we wanted? We wanted um, private string ID. Okay, so this is what is our ID, and this class must be annotated with getter document. Let's quickly generate all the setters, getters, builder, right? Setter, getter, builder, node, project longer, all annotations. Right? No are constructor and all are constructor. So let's quickly just just add all these things. Yes, let's go to the data, right? So we need name, description, mobile. Right, so let me quickly add those remaining three columns. Private string name, okay, private string description, okay, yes, let's add private string mobile type, right? So mobile, yes, three columns, okay. So it's a default column name, whatever we gave the property name, that's going to be the default column name. If you don't like, then we can use a column and define it. But let's go with the default column name, right? Let's go with the default column name. Yes. So we created a mobile accessory model class. Now let's create a DTO class. Okay. Let's create mobile accessory DTO, mobile accessory DTO. So it's almost same, right? It's almost same because we are, I mean, nothing secured. So we can use all the long back annotations. Okay. Or else we will use model class as a DTO class because it's just a common thing, right? Nothing changed. So it's unwantedly we are creating one more class. So let's not do that. Let's create mobile DTO as is, like mobile model itself for front end purpose, right? So no secure information, right? So let's use this as a direct class, right? Let's create a quick controller class. Okay, so no service required here. Okay, we will directly go. We will directly integrate with repository. Okay, controller. It's not controller. Just
Just control. Okay.
if you would like to do functional programming, that will be good. Let's move this into controller. Yes, move this into controller. And quickly add start with the post. Post mapping. Public. We are going to return mobile accessory, but this is the reactive programming. Every different type should be mono, right? So mono of
Mobile.
mobile accessory. Save mobile, right? Save mobile accessory, yes. And which is going to take request body. Request body is going to be mobile accessory, and element name, yeah, the variable name also. Let it be the mobile accessory, but item is small in case. Yes. Let's import mono from project reactor. Fine. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's a straightforward. We don't write unwanted code here. It's directly database call, right? So it's a direct database call. So whatever we did yesterday, I named it as controller. Sorry, mobile accessory controller. Right? Yeah. Let's change the name. Okay. So it's a very simple microservice. Whatever we are trying. Let's create a repository class. It's supposed to be interface. That's fine.
Sunil,
So mobile accessory.
why service layer is not required?
Pardon?
Service layer.
We are not going to do any extra validations here. Whatever it comes, we will save it. Okay. Whatever it comes, we will save it. Okay. Except ID. ID has to be generated. Fine. Even though they are sending some ID from front end, we will override it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I forgot to give the package name. Package com spring dot boot dot.
But Sunil, we have to save it, right? So somewhere we need to write that business logic, right? To save it. Like
That's
at
the
least we
purpose
have.
we are using repository. One second.
Okay. Okay.
Somewhere is what we are already discussed, right? MongoDB. We are going to store.
Yeah, I got it. No, that is what I'm saying. We have, but the template we have to call it, right? So we will directly call it controller, or we will write in a service class. That's the question.
Controller to repository. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Repository. Right. So mobile dot repository. Let's just move this into the package. For sure, it is not supposed to be class, and extends. Yesterday we were doing the same thing, right? React to MongoDB. Be very careful. Don't do MongoDB. React to MongoDB repository, and it's going to take mobile accessory ID is going to be string, right? So the primary key is going to be string. Yes. So we no need to do any extra. We no need to write any extra methods, right? For our basic requirement, saving CRUD operations, this is enough, right? So let's go and auto white. Okay, auto white. If you have business logic, then you can write service layer, right? Just like our MVC. But we are not going to do too much business logic, right? So that's why we are directly going for repository. Mobile accessories repository. Yes, let's give a simple name, repository. Right, so repository done. So I'm going to call repository.save and pass this entity, okay, mobile accessory, and it's going to return a mono, just return as is, right? So it's going to return a mono, return as is, okay, fine. Okay. But here we thought to generate our own ID, right? So we thought to generate our own ID. instead of whatever it's coming from the front end, let's save it our own ID, right? So dot set id, okay, dot set id. So this time we are going to generate some UUID. Okay, so in Java it's a predefined class UUID. Yes, we are going to use we are going to do the same thing. So it's a new UUID, and some static method should be there. Random UUID is going to be generated, so we are going to pass that UUID as an ID. Okay. So dot toString, okay, dot toString, mobile accessory dot set ID. Okay, so we are going to generate our own ID and save it into the database. Yes. Okay. It's very straightforward. Let me quickly complete the remaining methods. Right? Get by ID, get by name, get by get all, update, delete. So let's quickly do those operations, right? So let me quickly write get mapping. Okay, so which is going to return one mono, right? It's going to return one element. So what we can say, mobile accessory, mono mobile accessory, get mobile by ID. Okay, and when we are expecting some ID and which is mandatory, it should be in path variable, right? So let's take it from path variable. So string ID, I'm not defining any property to path variable because it's ID, we are going to map it to ID. Okay, so I'm going to call return repository dot find by ID, right? Find by ID and pass that ID. We are going to get mono of mobile access, right? Let's quickly do the same thing for non-primary key. So ID is the primary key. Let's do find by name. So the default methods are going to be supported for primary key, right? For primary key, so which is not non-primary key, you should write our own method, right? So we should write our own method, mono of mobile accessory. Okay, mono of mobile accessory find by name, right? So here we should send string name. Yeah, just to control shift. Okay, so this is our own customized method. Let's just go and call get mobile by, it's not mobile, right? So mobile accessory, get mobile accessory by ID, get mobile accessory by name. Okay, one more endpoint, name. So this is time, it's not ID, it's name, but there is a conflict will come, right? Both are taking string, right? Both are taking string. So I'll put find as a delimiter, right? So slash find slash name goes to find by name. Yes, name, and it's not name, it's not ID, right? It's a name, so should give the exact parameter. We should pass the exact parameter. Okay, so let's do a quick get mapping. It's like get all mobile accessories without any filter, right?
Find by name.
Sorry,
46, line number 46.
find by name. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me quickly change get all mobile accessories, right? Get all mobile accessory, no filter, nothing. You are going to call find all method, find all, but there is a chance you can get more than one accessory, so return type should be
Flux.
perfect, right? So two more we can do, like put and delete. Just let me quickly copy paste this, right? It's not post, it's a put, and this is for update. We don't need to do because post can do it, right? Save method can take care about both update and uh,
But
save, right? So post is enough for updating and saving. Yeah.
no, but Sunil, if we use post, right, so the number of time we will hit it, right, it will create multiple times, right? Same thing.
No, save will take care about automatically. Save is a combination of save and update. If data is there, it will update. If data is not there, it will insert.
Somewhere I read it, the difference between put and post it will, even
No,
if
no,
you,
no.
no?
In HTTP method description, we discuss like that. Okay, I will tell you where is the confusion key. So whenever we are discussing about HTTP methods, that time I told you post for saving, okay, put for updating. Yes, but Spring Data JPA, okay,
Okay,
Spring
it will
Data JPA.
handle internally. I think they wrote it like this.
We already discussed this as part of our
Yeah,
Spring
yeah, yeah.
JPA,
In
right?
Hibernate also.
Yeah, yeah. Save method. We don't have update method. That time I showed in CRUD repository. We don't have update method. We have only save method because save method will automatically take care insert and update. Right? It's just before doing this, it will execute a select query to check whether the data is there or not there. If data is there, then it will do insert. If data is there, it will do update. If data is not there, it will do insert. So we no need extra method or put, right?
Okay, okay. And now I got it. I got it just confused between the HTTP method and this one.
Yeah, yeah. HTTP method and here it's two different things.
Okay, thanks. Sunil. I got it. Got it.
Delete. Let's not delete because we have very less data, right? Make a flag true, false, and make it is active like that. So that's why I'm not adding delete here. Okay. So no delete operation for now. Or else we can do one thing. Let's go to accessory and add one more flag. Private boolean, right? So private boolean is active or enabled, something like that. Yeah, anything is fine. Just by reading it, we should understand whether it is used to recommended to use or not. And now let's provide a quick delete, um, delete, delete mapping. Right. So we are going to get. So let me make it void for now. So delete mobile. Okay, we are going to get ID, right? ID. So we should expect a path variable here. Okay, so that's going to be ID. Yes. Now it's a path variable string ID. There won't be any conflict because these two are different HTTP methods, right? So you send get, it will execute. When you send delete, this will execute. Now we should call repository dot. Okay, it's not delete. Don't delete, right? So what should we do? We should get, first of all, you should call this method, get mobile accessory by ID. Okay, pass this ID. You will get a mono mobile. Fine. You will get a mono mobile. Fine. Now, once you get the mobile data from once you get the mobile data from the database, okay, you should update, right? You should update mobile dot actually some mono, right? Mono holding mobile accessory. So I told don't do block, okay? Don't do block, don't do subscribe. Okay, what you should do? You should do a map, okay? Map. Here we are going to have mobile accessory. When you map, when you call map method, you can get inside whatever mono holds that is going to be available inside map. So here you can set is active, uh, yeah, set active false. Okay, set active false, and we are going to call repository dot, right, save repository dot. So you see there is no update method, right? So there is no update, only save. So say take care about update and all. So it's going to be mobile access, right? So yeah, just update the value and save it, update the value and save it. So these are lazy. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. So map is a subscription, but you should return that, right? after subscription, you should return, then only the code will work. Okay. Yes. Now mobile dot map. Yes. So here, what should I do? I should return some message, right? So we should return some message saying that we have successfully processed the request, right? So it's a mono of string. So let's return the same thing here, right? If there is no exception, everything is good, then we will say successfully processed or successfully deleted. Right, so successfully deleted. Yes. Okay. So this is how we should do it. You get an ID. You first load the mobile information. It's a mono, right? So you should subscribe. Until subscribe, nothing can be done. But you can subscribe by using block. You can subscribe by using subscribe method, right? So those are not suggestible to use, right? Those are not suggestible to use. So in the real time microservices architecture, or in the real time RESTful web services, where we are using server and multi-threaded environment, right? So the exact suitable word is multi-threaded environment. So on multi-threaded environment, we supposed to do a map or flat map, and make sure when you do a map, you must return that. Okay, make sure when you do a map, you must return that. For example, you forgot to do the return, nothing can be done, right? So here you can say return mono.just success, but that entire map itself will not be evaluated, right? If you don't return this, right? If you just do mono.just and say success, right? Mono, yeah. Okay, so you expect that the code will be executed fine, but it won't, right? Until you do call return here, nothing can be done. Okay, so that return can be in two ways, right? So you can assign it to a variable. Okay, so if I'm directly returning over there, or I'm assigning it to a mono and returning mono, also fine. Okay, this is also fine. Both are same actually. So assigning it to a variable, returning the result, or here itself you are returning, both are same. Okay, both are same. It is just extra code. We are assigning and returning, but there we are returning just without assigning. But either any one of the way you must return, right? Either any one of the way you must return. So until you return, nothing can be done. While we will test it, right? So we will see. We will play with this. Okay. For now, let's do return, right? So until you return, nothing can be done. So we are done with writing.
Sunil, I have one question. In the save, right? Can you go little above? You told post mapping is for both update and insert, right? But here we are generating the UUID for everything, for all the requests. So obviously it will go and insert only, right? It will not update.
Yeah, you are right.
So we have to check if the mobile accessory is not having UUID, then we can insert
the
or something.
Client consent. So let's not write if condition. Put mapping and save as is. Good catch. Okay. Let's not write if condition. Okay. Better write at the separate endpoint. Still, it is okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, try to avoid writing if conditions as much as possible. It's good if you have a separate endpoint, it's good. Yeah, so we thought it will work, but it will always try to insert it. Okay, or else you can load it from the DB. If by using this ID you can load it from the DB. If it is there,
then we have to write logic. If and
yeah, that is different. Okay, but this looks good. Okay, that is not best service processing code. This looks good, right? Whoever wants to update, they call put. Whoever wants to insert, they call post. Okay, fine. So we will clearly say that, okay, when you call post method, there is a new row will be inserted. When you call put method, there will be existing one will take care of it. Okay, Yeah, we'll try to update. If ID is not there, then we will get exception. Fine. So these are the common things, and yeah, we will do one thing. We will quickly, yeah, we will quickly start this and test it, right? So we will quickly play with this. Try to create some data, right? So whatever data we have, try to insert it, and try to retrieve and delete some data, right? And we can see how the return is going together. Okay, so that we can close for today. So let me start this application. Okay, I would like to start this application on port 8082 because 8080 is for mobile service, 8081 for country service, 8082 for access service, right? So 8082. Okay, but it's a not Spring, right? It's a server port.
Server.port.
Yeah, server dot port. Correct. Not repository. Okay, so there is some problem, right? It's supposed to be in the parent, right? So repository should be inside access. Our Spring Boot application should be in the first place, right? Controller, just to control shift go. Okay, no error, just refresh, delete this. Okay, so make sure you always have application first, right? Application should be the root.
Yes.
Accessory.repository, but still why it is in the top.
Kaham dot instead of org.
Uh,
Com is you.
yeah, that's why when you open your project, right, your boot application class must be in the top position. Okay, so we will get some error in the controller, I believe. Let's make it correct, right? So let's just change import statement from co to org. Fine. So let's delete this. Okay. Yeah. When you open your project structure should look like this. Okay. So first folder you should have this application, then corresponding inside the corresponding layer specific files, right? Controller, model, and repository. So let me quickly start this application. It's going to be started on port 8082. Yeah, it started. Now let's go to Postman. There won't be any data. First, let's try to retrieve it, right? Localhost 8082 slash. I think we didn't define any URL pattern, I believe. Right, so no URL pattern. So let's define a URL pattern, right? So request mapping, and it's going to be mobile hyphen accessory, right? Mobile hyphen accessory. Yes, there is a lot to learn here. Okay, so writing is easy, testing is easy, but understanding internal things are little difficult here. Okay, so the flow will change. Anyway, 8082 mobile hyphen access, right? We are sending get and we are not passing any parameter, so it's get all mobile accessory, right? We are not passing anything, so get all mobile accessory, nothing there in the database, so you will get nothing, right? You get an empty array because nothing there in the data. Fine, it's working as expected. Now let's try to save something, right? So let's try to save something. Let's send a post request. It's the same URL, right? Nothing got changed here. So just save this and put it in the post, in the body section, in the raw section. We can do just yeah, it's a JSON data, right? So ID you send, you don't send, it doesn't make any difference because it's anyway all the time it's auto generated. So I'm not going to send it. So let's send the name. Okay, from drop down select JSON. Yeah, name. Uh, Okay, we will populate like 1 second. So description. Okay, I think while saving is active should be true. I believe is active must be true. Okay, we will save. We'll do,
By default, right? We'll go
yeah,
with true only.
yes. So we will get only 3 parameters, right? We will get only 3 parameters. Mobile type. And these 3 are mandatory. So we will add some validations, exception handling, other fundamental things. But anyway, for now, controller. Along with setting ID, let's also do set. Let's also do set is active true. Okay, set active true, and let's not allow from update also changing is set active false, right? So it should through delete only. Okay, status change should happen only through delete. So let's not allow anyone to update like set active false. Okay, so just save this as we added developer tools. So I think we didn't do the live reload files. So the live reload server will be started. Yes. Now let's go back and try to save this data, right? So name is cases and covers. Yes. And description also same. Mostly the same. But instead of using AND operators, let's use some string, right? And covers mobile type is any, right? So it's going to be applicable for all mobiles. Any or all, anything is fine, but let's give any. Okay, let's send this. Yes, it's saved, right? ID generated, active true. Let's go to the database. Just go to clusters, go to collections. You see another collection is going to be created, right? Mobile accessory collection, and it will take, yeah. So the data is right, automatically saved. So we can save other data also very quickly. Let's quickly insert all this data. Okay, let's try one or two. I will share this data with you. You insert remaining. So screen guards for mobiles, for mobile. Save this. You see that second one will be inserted. You just go and refresh. You see there are 2 rows will be inside, right? 2 rows will be inside. Good. Now um, let's go to get section and retrieve. You get 2 mobile accessories. Fine. You can get by name. You can get by ID, but name is little different, right? Find slash name we need to use. Yeah, you get that corresponding accessory. If you don't like to use this, you can use ID also, right? Just ID followed by accessory. So you get that corresponding thing. Okay. Yes. So this is how we can use it. Let's play with the delete, right? So what I will do, let's go with the negative scenario first. I don't do the return. I don't do the return. I do a separate return. I do a separate return. So as I already said, if you don't do the return, if you don't return this output, if you don't return the output, right? So nothing can be done, right? Nothing can be done. So let's try to delete something. You get successfully deleted output, but go to database and see that value won't be changed because the flow won't be coming inside. So just make sure I add some source, right? Um, expected to be deleted, right? So expected to be deleted. I'll also add ID. Okay, so ID. So this ID is expected to be deleted. Yes. So if flow is coming inside, you see that sysout will be printed on the console, but we are not returning, so nothing can be printed, right? After adding return statement, you can see. Okay, fine. Let's clear the console. Go to get all before deleting it. Just get all. Everything is true, true. Fine. Just change this to delete and send the ID, just change it to delete and send the ID. Go to console. You see, yeah, let's clear the console. Yeah, just send the request. You see, the sysout won't be printed, right? So it's a proof saying that the data was, yeah, you got successfully deleted, but nothing is printed, right? Successfully deleted, nothing is printed. Go to database, and you see that data value won't be changed because they are lazy. Until you use them, nothing can be happen, right? So be very careful while writing this code, right? While writing this code, be very careful while writing reactive code. Until you return, nothing can be done. So a
Oh,
simple return statement will do a lot of difference here, right? Yes. After doing the changes, let's save it, hold for a moment. Um, server will be restarted. Yes. Now let's clear the console. Just trigger the same request. You see that this out will be printed. Okay, send it. Yeah, you see that, right? Expected to be deleted ID. Now you go to database and see that value will be reflected. Okay, so until you use the monoflex, nothing can be done. So in terms of yeah, so it's a false. It will take some time. Okay, it will take some time to get it reflected. Clustered, right? Clustered data. So I it is true. Yeah, it's a remote cluster data, so it will take some time to get it reflected. But you see, when you do get all, you should get false.
here also it's true.
Are we saving it or not after doing it? Setting false, and we are saving it, right? Oh, got it. Save.
That should be actually update, right?
No. I'll tell you what is the mistake I did. Okay. This is going to return another mono. Okay. This is going to return another mono.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay. It will change new object, right? It will change the state of the object.
yes.
Okay.
So you should map this. Okay. Updated mobile.
And we have to send it.
We should do the flat map and return that updated mobile. Then only it will work. Updated mobile. Until you use that, nothing can be done. So updated mobile dot map. So this is what is a um, updated mobile. Okay, so inside this you should return this response. Okay, inside this you should return the response. Yes. Okay, return this. You got the mobile and you are mapping it and you are returning it. What's the problem? One second. Cannot convert mono object to monostring. Mono object to monostring. Okay, fine. When you go inside, it will show that kind of error. Fine. Result and let's return this. Now it is okay. Mono object. Mono object. Update mobile is this map we are calling and we are returning this.
I think we should return
One second.
Accessories.
No. It's accessory. We are getting it. Let it be there. Let it be there. Fine. Okay. We should return. As soon as we return, it will throw an error. Fine. So what I will do a flat map and create a more flat map. And here mono dot just okay. And this is supposed to be of type string. Okay.
You have to remove.
Okay, let's change this to flat map. Yes. Okay. So it will work fine. So let's save it. Okay. Let's trigger the delete for one more time. Let's take one ID. Go to delete section. Go to delete section and you just send. Let's successfully delete it. Let's go to the database and see. Right, this time it got updated. Okay, so that's what I'm telling, right? So be very careful with mono, right? While writing the mono code, we should have to be very careful, right? So here database is returning another mono until you subscribe. No, actual database call won't happen, right? Until you subscribe to that mono, no, the database call is not going to be happening. Okay, and you and these are lazy, right? So these are lazy. So for example, if you assign this to a mono string here, if you assign this to a mono string to result, right? Assign this to mono string to result, and we should return here, fine. But okay, but in between, if you write some logic, right? So this mono will not be evaluated until you call return. Okay, until you call return, nothing can be evaluated. So if I print something, right? For example, this statement. Okay, so this statement will print before. Okay, so this statement will print before um, delete code, right? So this is going to be printed first. So so it is not like top to bottom approach, nothing like that, right? So it's lazy. So it go through this code and it understands the code and it will just park aside, right? So it won't execute it immediately. It will create some lazy object. So when you call result, when you are going to return the result, or when you call the map, flat map, mainly it's like return. When you return that time, right? When you do return that time alone, this code is going to be executed. So when you looking into this code, okay, we will think, okay, so this statement will be printed first and this statement will be printed next, but nothing like that. Okay, nothing like that. So this is lazy. This will wait until you call return. This will wait until you call return. So if you forget to call return statement, so this code itself won't be executed. So no database call, right? So let me delete the second parameter also.
But this return, we are not giving you anything. It's just simply we are doing a return, right? But why it's depending on it.
Now, when you do return, so HTTP client is going to subscribe, right? So it's actual subscription. Okay, let me delete the second one. Okay, so when you return means from RESTful web services, you just return this mono, right? So who is going to subscribe to this mono?
Client will use it. Yeah,
Client.
HTTP.
Yeah, HTTP client is going to subscribe. So at the time when the client subscribes to this mono, that time this code is going to be fully evaluated. So let me go and send the second delete request, and you look at the console, right? So what happened?
You didn't hit right. You have to hit it.
Okay, let me change it to delete and send, right? You see, so this statement will print before, right? So return is must, and it's a lazy. Until you return, nothing can be done, right? Until you return, nothing can be done. So this is one of the problematic
Okay.
thing.
So this statement is getting printed after the return.
Yeah, fine. So
Sunil, one question, Sunil. Here, anyways, we are calling this get mobile accessory by ID, right? So that will also be called only after this return, or what? After this statement will be printed,
yes,
or what?
yes. Even this also, if I go ahead and add one more statement, so this one also will be evaluated. So they are completely lazy. So the first statement which is going to be executed this. Then after, as part of return, then only this code is going to be executed. Then only this code is going to be executed.
Okay, so what it will do is first, when coming to this return result line, that time it will go to line 69. There we are calling mobile.flatmap. So that time it will go to this line number 65 and get the mobile. Correct?
Correct.
It will go
Okay.
in reverse.
Okay,
debugging.
got it.
No, it's completely lazy. It will wait until you return. As part of return, the evaluation is going to be started. So line
Okay.
83 first will get executed. Then the line 86. After that, it goes to 69. So 69, from 69 it will execute one by one, right? So then it executes sys out line number 71. Then it will set it here, right? But as part of this flat map, as part of line number 69 execution, it will go and call this get mobile access. Right? Okay, so it goes to up, right? So it's a mobile dot flat map. When you do flat map, at the time this method call is going to be happen. Again, it goes to line number 45 and get that data from the database. So you get the data, then it will be printed, and again one more database call. You get one more mono. Make sure you do subscribe to that. Right? Make sure you do subscribe to that mono also. So if you forget to do the subscribe, actual database call won't happen. Right? If you forget to do the subscribe, actual database call won't happen. On subscription of database mono, actual database call happens here. Right? Actual database call is going to be happen as part of line number 76. As part of line number 76.
Sunil, one thing. So this result at the time of calling will already get evaluated, or the time we will get it. Then after getting the request, they will start all this calculation.
On subscription, once the client subscribe to this mono, then the flow will start. Till that time, it is just a simple thing. It won't even consider. It won't even execute. It will just simply skip that execution. It's a lazy, right? It simply skip that execution and it goes to the next line.
If that is
It will
the
come
case,
to line number 89. Then it will again it will start from the fresh.
What mono you are returning, that corresponding flat.
Yes. Got your point. So that is what I'm saying. So once it will come to line number 89, then it will go and do all this logic, whatever we have written.
Yes.
Then again it will come back and give it back the result.
Yes. So this applicable for all monos and all flex. So until you subscribe, nothing can be done. Until you subscribe, nothing can be done. And the final mono which you are going to return, that is going to be subscribed by HTTP client. And so if you write so many flat maps inside, right? So what will happen? It will wait until the client subscribes, and on client subscription time, the complete monos will be evaluated. So they are lazy, right? So like our streams also lazy. Until you call collector method, or until you call something, nothing can be done, right? So streams also lazy. Java 8 stream API also lazy. Even completable feature also lazy, right? Until you do get call, until you call get method, nothing can be done. Completable feature also lazy.
Sunil, one more question.
yes, Sunil.
Yeah, one by one. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll ask you first. You are saying to do the subscription, right? So subscription means once you got that mono from the save method, then you have to subscription. Didn't get what you mean by you have to do the subscription for that.
HTTP client, you return this mono, client will subscribe. So this object, dummy object will be created, but it won't be evaluated. Okay, so it is like a proxy, kind of proxy object is created and returned to the client, HTTP client. So client will subscribe. On subscription, the actual code will get executed.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So we are returning mono, right? You are
Okay, so
returning
dummy,
mono object.
okay, we
That
are
object
returning
has to
until
be
unless.
subscribed. Yeah.
Okay. So this,
Hari.
okay, while they will subscribe.
Hari,
Okay,
you are
got
asking
it.
something, right?
Yeah, you are saying once it is written, right? The 69 line will execute from that 69 flat map. It will execute 65 line, right? then what the value will be available in mobile? Yeah, that value.
This mobile accessory, this is the DB database value.
No, 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 no. In line number 69, mobile dot flat map, right?
Mobile is
What is the value of
mono
mobile?
object.
Mobile dot you are calling flat map.
Hmm.
What is the default value for that mobile? Because that will not execute.
At the time of JVM executing this line number, for example, JVM executed line number 65 and it went into the next line, right? 83 or else 69. At the time, this mobile will be there, but it's some proxy object. It is not null. Okay, it will be some proxy object. Okay, so this condition is going to be waiting until you call flat map or map or block or subscribe. It
So
will,
some DAMA object will create and assign to that.
yes, proxy object.
Okay.
Right, it's a abstract class. So you just go inside you go inside, so this method will get executed. This find id will return some mono, right? So this mono is going to be some proxy object, right? Simple reactive Mongo repository. So it internally use some kind of proxy mechanism. So that proxy object will be return. Okay. um, I think let me go to mono dot just method. Control O. We are using just method, right? So just go inside just method and on assembly, right? It will create some proxy, actually proxy object. So it won't be evaluated immediately. It will wait until it some subscription happens, right? So that subscription can be done in many ways. Whenever we are doing it, we are calling some method, right? So we saw yesterday block is one of the way we can do subscribe. You can call subscribe method, or else you can do map, right? You can do flat map. All these are different types ways we can do subscribe. But in RESTful web services, the final result, right, also mono, but we don't subscribe. Our client will do the subscribe, right? HTTP client is going to subscribe to this mono.
Okay, sir.
It's not null, it's some object. And on flat map, when you do map, flat map, block, subscribe, then only it will execute. It will start evaluating. Actual code execution is going to be happening.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Whenever we are discussing completable feature also, I showed that. You go and just rewind that recording. Completable feature also will wait until you call get method. Okay. So there is nothing new with this string. Okay. We already have complete full future, right? So this is also lazy. Until you call get method, you go and check that video. So until you call get method, nothing can be done. Okay. So wait if necessary for this feature to complete, right? Until you call get method, nothing can be done. Even the same concept applicable for stream API also, right? The same concept is applicable for stream API also. I recommend you to go through that record one more time. So it's already said, it's already discussed. So the same concept is being used here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will share this recording and okay, I will share this recording. Try to complete this training. Session before attending tomorrow's session, right? So tomorrow we will add exception handling, filtering, the common functionality, exception handling, and validations, right? So those functionalities we will complete, and tomorrow we will close this mobile access thing. Okay. So Sunday is holiday, and your assignments I told already, right? Parent, common, country service, mobile accessory service, right? Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow, sharp at 8:50 a.m. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guru. Thanks, everyone.